farther each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Happy Sober Monday. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays. It's a saying from a place called the Office Space. It's a comedy back in the 90s. Good afternoon, Michelle. Been a while since I wore anything Deadpool. Here's the problem. I love Deadpool, but I found out that Ryan Reynolds, he's just an asshole. He's a narcissistic fucking he's a piece of crap is what he is. So I won't be wearing much of my Deadpool stuff anymore. I just need a comfortable shirt. You could be the best actor in the world, but if you don't treat people right, nah, I'm not going to support your stuff. Sorry. I just won't do it. Yeah, it started already. I am certainly an ally of LGBTQ, but it has just over encompassed things. It's not Pride Month. It's Men's Mental Health Month. And has been a lot longer than it has been Pride Month. Just saying. You're going to hear it from me all month. Because it just takes, and I saw one other person do it. Thank you, by the way, Amber. I appreciate that. We got to give space and we got to give allowance for men to talk, man. We're taught all of our lives that sharing our feelings is weak, and being weak is like the worst thing for a man. It's driven into us. It's in our DNA, So there we go. But thank you to the people supporting it. Oh, and good thing, looks like chat's working. I was actually concerned about that because I didn't restart. We're just double checking it. Okay, looks like we're good. Yay, chat is working. Thank you, HP. Just got done running sound at a funeral. Got to hang out with Pastor Marshall for a little bit. And they said they were going to pay me, but I was expecting like 20, 30 bucks. No, 200. They gave me 100, and then Pastor Marcia gave me another 100. I'm like, you don't need to do this. You don't need to, At the same time, God knows I'm in a little bit of financial trouble, and honestly, it's going to help a lot. It's going to alleviate a lot of things. So, it's that trust in God and, doing what we're, keeping focused on what we're trying to do. So, but anyway, speaking of being focused, let's talk about the upward path. We're all here to do stuff, so let's get to it. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Because I'm a rewatcher. All right. Well, it's kind of funny because I couldn't figure out how to turn the amp on, or actually the mixing board. I had to. But then people were like, oh, we got a slideshow. We're adding music. We're doing this. I was able to do all that, but I just couldn't figure out how to turn on the mixer. I had to call my friend Tom. I'm like, where is it at? He's like, it's the button down the button. And I looked at the thing, but I didn't see the button because it was white also. And yeah, just kind of funny. It's the simple things. It's the simple things in life. Heather, good afternoon. It's good to see you. You know, before I get going, I just want to say something real quick. Let's stop going with what the popular thing is and let's get back to what needs to be taken care of. Search for the darn truth, man. Search for the truth. Do not take the popular opinion. I'm going to tell you something. The popular opinion is always wrong. Yeah. The bigger we make a bigger deal we make out of women's rights, the bigger deal we make out of these, and you have opposing forces, then the less gets done. It's kind of a weird concept, you know. And stop arguing with the damn police and putting it online. You do not impress me. All right. So we're actually going to be how it works. So chapter 5, page 58. Grab the book. Not going to brag, but I have this memorized. I've just been to a lot of meetings. Like a lot of meetings. Yeah. I don't know why I end up, my brain just memorizes stuff. I don't know why. I have to say it's been pretty nice not to have my my mind has been, it's weird because I'm still thinking, but I don't have 50 million thoughts going through my head at the same time. It is so nice. I've actually been able to focus on what I need to. Just like if I would have done that a week ago, run and done the sound for that funeral, I would have been up and down over here. But I sat there the whole time and didn't need to do nothing. Weird. I noticed last night, I'm like, oh man, it's been a while since I had a cigarette. Yeah, I don't really need one. That's different for me. I always have to get up and go moving around and stuff. All right. So rarely. That means not very often. That's what that means. Have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path? Those are the 12 steps. Your path's going to look different. Your path's going to look different. It's okay. So it's all about perception. Your perception is different than my perception. Your perception of me, I guarantee, is very different than your perception than my perception of me. Yeah. And that's all right. But what we're going to do is thoroughly follow the path because we know that it works. It has been tried. It has been tested. Next person I hear call it antiquated. It's just gonna, and now somebody's gonna be a smart ass and put it in chat. You watch. That's how my friends are. Yes, Amber, best of your ability. See? Okay, there we go. Keeping it simple again. Yeah. All right. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not give themselves to this simple program. Now, let's listen to that. Cannot or will not. I was a will not. Most of the people in AA are will nots. There are a lot of people out there that cannot, and they die of this disease, or maybe some other complications set off by this disease. Okay, let's do some numbers. How do we ask this? So, how many people are alcoholics? I don't know how to ask it. 29 people, 29 million people in the United States. 29 million people in the United States alone. There are 2 million people in AA around the world. We can't have the assumption that we know, that we think everybody knows about AA. There's your proof. 2 million worldwide out of the 29 million in the United States. That's just the United States. Okay. Now I'm beefing that other number up just a little bit because they said 12 and up. So give or take a million. Let's call it 20 million. Let's take 9 million out of that. Is 2 million compared to that 20 million? Consider yourself lucky. Very lucky. Right? Because there's a lot of people who cannot completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. I have written above that physically. Okay. That is incorrect. Constitutionally incapable means denial. It is a fancy way of saying denial. Or maybe they physically, maybe that's what my sponsor was trying to say at the time. There are a lot of people out there that just physically can't get off the alcohol. Took me 2 years. I put myself in detox 22 times. I knew if I took away my freedom long enough, I would sooner or later give in. It's what I had to do, man. I knew that my freedom was the number one thing that I cherished. Okay? There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. I absolutely believe that I was born with alcoholism. I absolutely believe it. There's too much evidence out there for me to not think that way. I was even just what I was doing. They were talking about stories. She had a drinking problem. And you could tell that the family, great family though, just because somebody has a drinking problem or is an alcoholic does not make them a fucking bad person. That is not, no. It was a celebration of life, man. You don't put down the dead. You respect the dead, man. There's consequences to that shit. Okay. So they're naturally incapable. See, I was naturally incapable of being honest. I heard this all the time when I was a kid. Well, Dion, you got to be honest. Okay, how do I be honest? Okay, because to me, in my perception, I was being honest. I was. Well, Dion, why don't you do your work? Because I don't want to. I was being very honest. Dion, why are you not doing your homework? Because I don't want to. Well, to them, that was a lie because it wasn't quite the truth. Because I was naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. And what is rigorous honesty? It is inside. That is how I'm honest with myself. That is a rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. Average compared to who? The cannots or will nots. That. The cannot. Their chances are less than average. Okay. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Did you know that I was able to deal with my other mental illnesses because of these steps? I had to take care of my alcoholism first. Then I was able to take care of everything else. But I was able to because my alcoholism and AA and my sponsor and my friends and the people around me taught me how to be rigorously honest. I had to learn certain skills that other people already had that I wasn't born with. Wasn't born with them. Does that make me bad? Does that mean I was born bad? Because that's what I was told. Yeah, you were just born bad. Well, bad to the bone. Bad. Bad. I've broken 1,000 hearts before I met you. All right. So many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. There are a lot of people in AA that have other mental disorders, but they are able to make it if they have the capacity to be honest. Initially, Heather says, initially I thought constitutionally incapable. I thought I was constitutionally incapable, but that ended up being not true. Yeah. Way to tell on yourself there. See? Right? The first thing I prayed for once I was absolutely despondent was honesty. You want to know the most honest thing I hear anybody say? I don't know. When you get to AA, if the words that you say are I don't know, you're on a great start, man. Because that's being honest. I literally don't know why. That's why I'm here. I need to find it out. And it's important that we know the mental, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual side of all of it, because it all accounts to our alcoholism. Right? All right. So our stories disclose in a general way. This is how we do speaker meetings. Okay. What we used to be like. So that's our drinking career. I grew up in such and such. I had sisters, I had brothers. And if you if you go listen to some of my stories, you'll hear that I ask a lot of the same questions often. One of the questions is, which one of your parents was alcoholic? And I'll give you the one that tends to say, well, neither one of them were. Okay. Well, what you have two lost child. Then I ask, why don't they drink? And this is always the answer. Because their parents did and they didn't want to end up like them. It's always the answer. Always. See, I can connect. It's very easy to connect the dots in an alcoholic family. It's easy. Okay. What happened? So what happened that made you decide to quit drinking? It may have taken years of little different things, but there was one thing in this world. Okay. And I'll tell you what it usually is. Children. It's the children, man. Our children save our lives. It is the number one reason people get sober, and very legitimate. All right. You can get sober for any darn reason that you want. You do not need, okay, you do not need to hit, and I'm glad to see that it's going away. Rock bottom does not exist. And if you can trust anybody on this, you can trust me. There's one trap door after another. What rock bottom does is it constitutes a stigma. It constitutes a requirement. When we have no requirement, you do not need any, you can get sober for any reason you want. The steps you're going to need to do for yourself. That part is true. So when people run around and say you got to do sobriety for yourself, it's because they have no recovery in their life. They don't quite understand it. That's okay. We're learning. We're learning. So that's okay. Still a great place to start. If you got sober for yourself, even better. But I'm going to tell you now, I never heard it. I've never heard somebody say, I came in here for me. I loved me so much that I needed to get off that. Nope, sorry, just never heard it. That's not how an alcoholic mind works. If anything, we hate ourselves when we get here. Hate, loathe. If there's somebody in this world we don't like, it is us. And you will figure that out pretty darn quickly if you get to AA. See, we have been blaming everybody else, but all we were doing is blaming people that were doing the same shit as us. That's who we were blaming. Oh, do you need some love? Okay, come here. Say hi. Hi. All right. they're used to it. Since he's been a kitten, I've done that stuff to him. Anyway, all right. So what happened and what we are like now? What we are like now is where the hope comes in. When I do the podcast, I usually want somebody to have, not always, not always, but I usually prefer that you've gotten through the steps because you may not have enough of what it's like now to make you feel good about your story yet. See, I'm doing it for that person. I don't want them to feel like, oh man, well, I just haven't really made much, and I don't want to do that to them, right? So I usually prefer a year, but it doesn't always work out that way. No. I don't think Amber had a year when she was on, but she had done the steps. She would. This is what I'm looking for. You're sponsoring other people. That's usually what I kind of want because that's when it really gets underway. That's when the really cool stuff happens. Okay. If you have decided, just a decision, just a decision. Okay. A decision you can take back if you want. Right? We used to say this all the time in AA. Right? Why don't you try it out for 2, 3 months? If it isn't for you, come to us and we will write you a receipt for your misery. Okay? But it works. It works when we do that. Okay, so if you have decided you want what we have, and so there's a requirement here, and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. That's steps 1 and 2 right there. Because step 3 is where you're going to be willing to turn your entire life over the care of a higher power of your understanding. Right. Now, willing to go to any length just means you're willing. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. Here again, just a thought process. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for you. We really are, because it's already hard enough. I mean, the shit that you're putting yourself through and the stigma from other people, it's already hard enough. We do not want to add to it. In fact, if we could take a little bit away, ow, dude. Fine, come here. All right. Okay, but no claws. All right. No claws. Okay. Okay. All right. Then you are ready to take certain steps. All right. At some of these, we balk. Bark, 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 bark. I always have to. You guys know me well enough. I don't need to explain. We thought we could find an easier, softer way. Well, all my best thoughts got me here. So now, this is where I'm finding that these younger generations better start listening to their elders. Yeah. See, we tried all those ways. And they didn't work. They didn't work. There is no easier, softer way. And I'm going to tell you something. There's no growth in easier, softer. There's no balance. There's no joy. There's no serenity. There's no happiness. It's not there. It's not in the easier, softer way. What is there? Appeasement, manipulation, anger, depression, suicide, abuse. That's the easier, softer way. Amber says it was like 4 or 5 months and you were surprised. Yeah, I would have been surprised by that. He's looking at me, why'd you stop petting me? All right. But I'm not surprised now. And we still did it though, because you were sponsoring other people. Yeah. When I got sober at 18, that's what it was like for me. You know, after 4 or 5 months, I was ready to sponsor. All right. Yeah. See, the average is about a year, but that's based on somebody that's in their 40s and older. Okay. It's not true for everybody. Right. So When I got sober this time, it was more like 4 or 5 years before I was ready. That's why I'm saying you do not have to do the next 10, 15 years, is because I did that. Physically, I just couldn't do it. Anyway, and there's a story behind it. I ended up with an anxiety attack. It kept me in the house. Dude, go find something to do. All right. Remember that we deal with alcohol. Cunning, baffling, powerful, and patient. We like to throw patient in there. We say things like alcohol's out in the parking lot doing push-ups, just waiting. And it is. See, alcohol doesn't understand time. It's been around, alcohol has been around thousands of years before you got here, and it'll be around a lot longer after you leave. Time is not something, it's not something that it understands. Alcohol only understands one thing: destroying anything good worthwhile in life. It's the only thing that it does. It dissolves everything. It is a dissolution when we need to live in the solution. All right. Without help, there is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Okay. Now, without help, it is too much for us. Doesn't just include God, it includes the people around you. It includes your support system, right? God wants you to interact with his children. The opposite of addiction is fellowship. It's community. It's love. The opposite of addiction is love. Now, this day's going by. Is that what happens when you work? Day goes by faster. It's been a while since I've made money. And considering what I got paid, I was paid like $100 an hour. Then again, I have to remember that I spent a long time, figuring out how to do that stuff, like days on end. So, yeah. So, in a sense, I just don't want pity money. It's my pride. It's my pride. It is. Right. So half measures availed us nothing. Now we're talking about the third step. We're talking about the third step. The third step is a pivoting point. It is a crossroads. Okay. Now you might be familiar with the crossroads. Who hangs out at the crossroads? The devil. In this case, alcohol. Devil hangs out at the crossroads. And you can either take his deal, get your gift, go find that easier, softer way. But we always know where that ends up, huh? Yeah. See, there's a decision to be made. Are we going to continue going down the road that we've been going down, right? So you're going across this road, and then you come to the crossroads. Well, you're gonna have to take a right or a left, man. And either one of these is going to be better than continue going straight. But that is where alcohol wants you to go. It wants you isolated. It doesn't want you understanding better morals. No. Okay? Because it feeds off of destruction. It feeds off pain. Your pain. This is and this is just me. This right here is where we battle for our soul. Your being, who you are. Okay. The other thing is, so half measures availed us nothing. The third step is black or white. And yes, we're going to use, you're either pregnant or you're not. You can't be either. You can't be both. Right? So you're either going to look for a higher power or you're not. That's what we're talking about. Now, when we say half measures, right? Because we're like, Well, the only step you got to do 100% step one. That is true. What did Amber say earlier? Because this is what applies here. To the best of your ability that you have at the time. That's all that's asked. You don't know your character defects yet. You don't understand everything yet. Why are we doing that? So we can free ourselves so we can go look at them. This is where people decide whether or not they want to do the program. Okay. I call it the AA shuffle. 1, 2, 3, slip. 1, 2, 3, slip. 1, 2, 3, slip. It's a very personal step. Okay. But doing it halfway won't get you any. Well, I'm going to kind of let this go and that go. Well, no, then we got to go back to being rigorously honest and that all of our best thoughts got us here. We stood at the turning point, crossroads. And what are we doing? We're going to turn left or right, a turning point. God, this is matching up well for me today. I'm doing this a little differently than I usually do. All right. Next, we read the steps. I'm not going to do that. I never do that here. Or we will be here for 2.5 hours. I said, covering every single one of these steps. Oh, man. All right. So we read the steps. Let's read the 12th one so it feels like we did it. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I can't go through with it." Doctors told me I had 6 months to fucking live. I had jaundice. I could barely even walk or talk when I got here. I did it. Here's the key. What an order. I can't go through with it. You are correct. They are correct when they say, I can't go through with it. How are they correct? Because it's a we program, not a me program. You are correct. You can't go through with it. You need a guide. You need a sponsor to show you what this book says. You need other people in AA meetings. You need go out there and listen to the right people. And if you guys run into people that are awesome and do great like me, let me know so we can start spreading the word, maybe help them out a little bit. Because here's the thing, man. Yeah, I'm good at what I do and stuff like that, but I can't be your only sobriety, man. I can't be your only. Why? Because I don't know it all. And God talks to his people, and we don't get to decide that. We don't get to decide which ones. So I always encourage people, not that I don't appreciate everybody that comes and watches, and if I can help you, fucking even better. All right. So, but it says don't be discouraged. Okay. In sales, this is what I would call an elephant. I used to do merchant services. Merchant services is where you go and swipe your credit card. Well, I sold the credit card machines and the processing to the merchant, the owner of the company or whatever, right? Okay. And but what I eventually ended up doing was becoming the trainer and recruiter on how to do that, on how to do it. People will come to me that, oh, Dion, I got this big deal. I'm just going to name it. Oh, I got Arby's on the hook. Okay, you got Arby's on the hook. How many times do you talk to them? Well, I just had my first meeting with them. And this is what I would tell them. I'm like, that thing isn't going to close for at least a year. Do you understand that? Sure, it is a big one, but if you think you just walk in somewhere and they're going to what they were doing was shopping you, is most likely what they were doing. But what you have here is an elephant, which means, and there's only one way to eat an elephant, a bite at a time. So what you're going to do is make sure, number one, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to write them a handwritten letter. Salespeople don't use handwritten letters anymore. I'm telling you, it's an awesome tool. How many of you here have gotten a chip from the grassroots meeting? Okay. Now you got the chip, but you got more than that, didn't you? You got a handwritten letter from Tyler. And it made it all the better, did it not? Right? But anyway, the point is here is there's only one way to eat an elephant, a bite at a time. If we could get through these in a matter of days or whatever, then we'd all be recovered. But it doesn't work that way. It takes time. We cannot reverse 20 years of drunkenness in a matter of weeks, months, or even a few short years. It's going to take time. It was 9 years before all my kids came back. I had a lot of work to do, though. I'm telling you, I went very, very far down. There was no reason for my kids to trust me. All right. I'm going to give you a quick story and then we'll get back to this. I was about 3 months sober for reals that time. I never drank again. Right. And I was cleaning and I came across one of my wife's Tuwaka bottles. She hid her alcohol. She's not an alcoholic. She hid her alcohol from me because if I saw it, I would drink it no matter how drunk I was. It was very dangerous for me to have too much alcohol around. I was fucking insatiable when it came to alcohol. There was never enough. All right. So thank God for passing out, or I would have died from alcohol poisoning. I'm sure I almost did several times. All right. So I poured it out, right? Of course, I rinse it, put the cap on. Yeah, got to rinse it. Don't give me a chance to be able to lick, tapping, getting all that alcohol. You all know what I mean. I don't need to explain why I'm washing it out. See, that's an inside joke only alcoholics get without an explanation. All right. I throw it in the trash. My stepdaughter comes home. I'm sorry, my bonus daughter comes home. All right. She walks in, sees the Tuwaka bottle laying at the top of the trash and books it out the door. And I knew exactly what happened. I didn't even try and chase her. I'm like, Dion, she's just not. You gotta let it go, right? She went to my wife's work, which was thankfully only like 2-3 blocks away. I get a phone call. It's my wife. She says, "Have you, Dion? I hate to ask you this, but have you been drinking?" And I knew why she was asking, and so I told her the story and what had happened. I'm like, "No, I have not been drinking." Okay. But their concern was I was going to get mad because I was being accused of drinking. And I told her, and please pass this on to Megan, who's my bonus daughter, that she didn't do anything wrong. Because she didn't. What in the fuck did she do wrong? Nothing. She protected herself. I said she did the right thing. She has no reason to fucking trust me. Did it hurt? Of course it hurt. But that is motivation to become better, is it not? Right? Nowadays, let's say the same thing happened. Nowadays, because my son and my stepdaughter are married. They live upstairs. If she came down and saw an empty Tuwaka bottle in the trash, I would be the last person she would think of. The very last person. She wouldn't think of me. There we go. Because she trusts me. Everybody in the house would know if Dion was drinking. I'm loud. I'm obnoxious, man. Do not be discouraged. No one has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. Just got to be willing to grow along spiritual lines. You don't have to. You don't have to. Why are we doing this? Why would we do that? Because number one, it's got to be your choice. If it's not your choice, it's no good. If you don't admit that you're an alcoholic, it's no good. It's not gonna. What's the other reason why? Because I have found, at least my higher power works this way. My higher power does not make hard terms for me to get closer to them. Would you make hard terms for your children to be closer to you? Well, I guess we did that with alcoholism, But now that you're sober, you're in recovery, would you do that? No. When my daughter came to me 3 weeks ago, and this talk made all the fucking work worth it. And it's just quick line. Dad, I came to you and I need help because you're the only person I know that won't judge me about this. Fuck. Amazing. Now I can't see because I'm getting a little misty-eyed. All right. All right. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Okay, there's a direction again. We claim spiritual progress. And we do that with the 10th step at night. It is a bad day indeed that we went through the day and something good did not happen. All right. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives, step 1. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism, step 2. That God could and would if he were sought. I have written down steps 3 through 12, but then it goes on being convinced we're at step 3. So for me, that's more just step 3, but I'm going to continue seeking for him. So that makes sense, 3 through 12. And then I have written underneath that, are you willing to go through with this? It was the question that he asked me next, right? If I was willing to go through with it. All right, let's remember this was today's daily reflection, so I'm going to cover the daily reflection also. June 2nd, here are the steps we took. ... I'm only doing that because there's people running around. ... means fuck you. Well, what does for mean then? All right, Alcoholics Anonymous, page 59. So here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1, right? These are words that lead into the 12 steps. In their direct simplicity, they sweep aside all psychological and philosophical considerations about the rightness of the steps. Love it. I love how that was written. I do. Because it's true. And what do I like about it? I didn't see it that way, but I can understand what they're saying. See, a new way to understand it. New way. They describe what I did. I took the steps and sobriety. I took the steps and sobriety was the result. These words do not imply that I should walk the well-trodden path of those who went before, but rather that there is a way for me to become sober and that it is a way I shall have to find. It is a new path. Now I like it even better because it went with what I was saying with the crossroads. All right. It is a new path, one that leads to infinite light at the top of the mountain. See? What? The top of the mountain? I can't go through with that. You're correct. That's why we're all going to walk it together. What? And if you get 2 foot sore, I'll carry you. I get 2 foot sore, you carry me. I've got extra water. You got extra food. We got this. Together we survive. And we're going to walk that mountain. We're going to trudge the happy road of destiny together. Trudging together. That's how I came up with the name. It's a new path, one that leads to this step. The steps advise me about the footholds that are safe and about the chasms to avoid. Actually, it's the traditions that tell us the chasm. No, a lot of stuff in the steps too. That, there's a lot of stuff in there describing about how you don't do it to prove that we tried that way and it didn't work. There's a lot of proof of it in there, right? Now that we can be rigorously honest with ourselves, we can see it, right? They provide me with the tools I need during the many parts of the solitary journey of my soul. When I speak of this journey, I share my experience, strength, and hope with others. All right, that's going to be it for this one. Another good one. Have these China changed? Everybody, have you noticed? Have you guys kind of noticed that? You may not notice that this is a little different. It's been a little different for the last 2-3 days. But I don't know if that's just my perception or if that's what's going on. But I've been able to stay, I hardly fucked around during this whole thing. Other ideas came to me. It was, there's a talent that I have, right? I'm very artistic when it comes to speaking. And I wasn't able to grab some of that stuff before because my brain was too filled with other shit. Wow. Thank you, therapy and other stuff. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. I may even love you more than you love yourself. That's okay. I went through that too. But I love you. You know I do. Peace out. Like you're feeling a deep sense of love and care for someone. Jesus Christ. Did you hear that? It's like, it sounds like you have a deep love for. I didn't ask it to give me anything. Silly Gemini. Let's do that again. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And have a day.